Welcome back, everybody. As we speak, Fnatic are gearing up for Game 3, but they've got 2 wins on the board, and they're looking to sweep Vitality right off their feet. It's already been a hell of a series.
Let's hear the predictions from Crepo.
What was it you were predicting?
I knew Fnatic was going to win. I didn't post anything online. There's most definitely no tweet.
There's no evidence, right?
No, I don't think you can ever find a tweet.
There, it's gone.
It's gone. But Divisha, I want to talk to you a little bit because I feel Fnatic
Talk to me.
as a team and an org just always show up in playoffs.
I mean,
You're not wrong.
you're not wrong. That's true. And I mean, we have to praise the people around this team, who's obviously been here now for 2 seasons or 2 years with Daylor and his coaching staff, or the people around him as well. The way they're setting up the team, obviously using the 2 weeks to analyze their mistakes, understanding how to prepare properly for other teams. So credit to them for this one. When it also comes to Fnatic, though, and the players on Fnatic, this is something we talked about in game a bit. We never really got a full commitment to the conversation, fitting the meta when it comes to Fnatic. We mentioned, of course, with Gamsu, when he plays tank versus tank, where he has been a weaker top laner than the likes of Caposhot, it doesn't show because it's tank versus tank. And that is a massive advantage for Fnatic and carry junglers for Spirit.
Yeah, or even just the mid lane champ pools. Everything is going towards Fnatic. Also, they went in full lockdown the last 2 weeks. No visits allowed at the Fnatic house. No more relaxing.
I was outside knocking on the door. They didn't let me in.
Yep.
Clearly, they were
24/7. League, eat, sleep, league, repeat, and it paid off.
And running.
You gotta run. Except when it rains. Clyde did not run when it rains. And I think that's important because he didn't slip. And so far, he hasn't slipped up in this series. And Fnatic, they're not going to slip up either because they banned the Poppy, which is necessary.
Now, Vitality has looked at Azir in both these games and said, we need to pick this Azir and we need to ban around it. Or steal away picks around this Azir. So in the last game, that's why they went for that Jhin. That's why they banned Kassadin on purple side to early pick Azir. That should change for them. Jhin is open this time around. Varus is open as well.
I want to see first pick Trundle.
No, you don't.
Okay, I don't want to see
anymore.
first pick Trundle. I want to see first pick Sivir then maybe.
I would like first pick Sivir, yes.
Fnatic can go Sivir Maokai, and suddenly they can play a similar style here with no punish because Maokai doesn't have the worst matchups left.
And you can take Sivir in case Fnatic seals away your precious Azir. You have a Lissandra pick.
You have a Varus.
Then we are very happy if we get to see. Let's take the Lissandra, save the Varus for later.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Maokai first. Interesting.
I feel like Maokai has less value in a sense because Nautilus are still there.
If 5 weeks ago somebody told you we're going to see Vitality versus Fnatic in playoffs, the first pick is going to be a Maokai for Caposhot.
Now there is a thing, obviously, not to shoot you down completely on this one.
I don't know, just ignore the point. Let's continue. Thanks.
With the Kindred ban, I mean, Maokai.
Times they are a-changing, guys.
With the Kindred ban, what is Spirit going to play? Gragas is available, but he's not really been that hot in this series because obviously Shook hasn't been able to use him, and the other pick has been Lee Sin for him. Fnatic, I don't think they have to early pick an Alistar at all because Kasing has shown he heavily prefers the Thresh pick.
But he has to pivot right now after 2 games losing with Thresh.
We would think so. I mean, they changed already, of course, with their Maokai, but not taking Sivir here?
I'm surprised.
You have to take it almost.
It's fallen through before, and that last game, Vitality were the ones who paid for it. They will have the chance to grab it themselves and combine it with that Maokai as Fnatic opt for the Alistar Gragas combo.
I mean, Sivir Lissandra here into maybe an Elise to round it out, and then with any other support that guarantees you the push in the 2v2 bot, I think it would be a fantastic composition for Vitality.
I mean, surely Sivir is coming. I wonder if Fnatic is saying we want you to pick it so we can take a Jhin into it, but a Jhin Alistar lane is not going to absolutely destroy you.
It has one shell and a shotgun. That's it. If the combo into W connects, suddenly you're doing well, but you have spell shield against either.
I mean, we need a Sivir pick here from Vitality. It should be the exact kind of style Yana wants to play. You get this Sivir Maokai, which is a very, very strong combination for team fighting. Vitality is stepping away, it looks like, from trying to play this 3-1-1 comp. We can see Nukeduck get a LeBlanc pick and put him in a side lane, and then have the Sivir just sitting mid, and you have a standard 1-3-1 into team fights.
Yeah, Fnatic, they may look to kind of go for a repeat or a somewhat edited composition of what they ran at IEM. Just get a Jhin here. They could lock an early Varus here too and kind of deny the Azir. Lock it out of mid lane. I think Vitality is going to round out, however, regardless of what is picked, with Lissandra Bard. It could actually be a fantastic pick because Bard punishes Jhin really hard because he's so immobile.
Yeah.
That would be a fantastic rotation here.
Would definitely like Lissandra. It would fit in the same with LeBlanc when it comes to playing that 1-3-1. Put Nukeduck in the side lane. Don't keep Nukeduck mid lane. Send him to side lane. Let him play the 1v1 game into flanks. I think Lissandra is perfect here into a Jhin. We talked about in the last game how easy it is to collapse on Jhin over and over. But it can be a little bit difficult against 3 tanks, obviously. You only have very specific targets to nuke down. Same goes for LeBlanc though. If you pick that and you're like...
It's not what you want here, I think.
It's the same, right? You jump in and you can only really hit 1 target, maybe 2 targets at max. Gangplank is special for Nukeduck.
He is fantastic Gangplank overall. It's actually something I hope we can keep the camera on a little longer. It's when he lost hits under tower and where he decides to use his Q on creeps, or obviously get the grass proc and just stay sustained and actually type farm. We see a safe supporter come out, so no the Bard, but it has a black shield against, honestly, a lot of predictable telegraphed engage, depth charge, body slam flash, pulverized combos. I like the black shield here. I think for that Vitality overall didn't go for what we maybe expected, but they still have a strong composition overall. The only weakness is maybe that they get pushed in mid and top in the early game.
But this Vitality comp, very likely they want a lane swap. Not because of the 2v2 lane being bad into the Jhin Alistar, but because you have a GP in the mid lane who gets early level 6. And that means when you have the lane swap game and you keep walking around trading towers, the GP ulti stops that trading from happening. You take tower, they lose the push because the entire wave dies, and you have very, very fast pushing. A very fast pushing team with the Sivir.
The exact timing of that ulti, GP hits level 6 when you hit the tier 2 tower with the Herald push. That's exactly when he hits level 6. If Fnatic don't opt for the tier 2 Herald push though, and they kind of mirror like they did game 1, the GP ulti is a tiny bit nullified. I would like to see the lane normally though, because I think Morgana, Sivir walk over Jhin Alistar. I think there's nothing they can do in the lane.
That's definitely a great thing, and it just depends if Vitality wants to try and play that mirror game with the GP, as we have seen so often in Europe, and just build around his ulti. Overall, Vitality, they had a lot of physical damage, and that's why they drafted Morgana, Elise, Maokai to add in AP damage around them, but the GP is slow scaling.
They could also just go for double TP dive bot though with a Sivir push. That is kind of
definitely an option too.
And that is now we have to see. Now Fnatic is playing the 1-1-3 composition that we called it versus a clear 1-3-1 that has double TP dive it. Let's see if Fnatic truly is the smartest team. If they win this stylistic mismatch again, they should show that they are way smarter today than Vitality.
We'll have to see. Vitality, they've got a lot of power picks in their corner right now. A lot of comfort. Yeah, I'm trying to stumble all over it all. I was just having a good time listening to you guys. But for Fnatic, this Jhin is also a specialty for Reckless. Vitality are the only team that have been able to take it down. They'll be looking to do that again, and we'll have to see how these comps do line up and if that lane swap prediction that you guys called ends up being the case. Well, we'll see.
Put it up as an option, right?
I prefer standard
option with it. You can do standard lanes, have strong 2v2, or you can do lane swap and play around GP ult.
Well, why don't we ask the audience? What do you guys think? If not about the lane swap, but if Vitality are going to win this one, or if Fnatic are going to win this one. If Vitality are going to keep it going, hashtag VIT win at LOL Esports, or if Fnatic are going to close the sweep 3-0, hashtag FNC win. I think I know where the crowd's heading in the stadium right now. Surprise, surprise, it's onto the Rift.
It was a bit of a disco in the studio here.
No Nunu though.
No Nunu this time. I just wonder what does Fnatic do? So they have the push early in mid and top. So Nautilus wins the push against Maokai early. Featherman on Azir wins the push against Gangplank early.
But Gragas doesn't really use that too much.
Unless they dive. Like, do you want to dive in Maokai level 3? I don't really think so. What's Fnatic counterplay to the level like 6 dive bot? Morgana Sivir push up the entire game, double TP. GP ulti comes down too. How do you counter that?
That is definitely a problem. Azir is not a guy who leaves his lane very often to like go in and dive top lane, and you don't want to dive against a GP. Also with teleport, not only can he join, but also his ulti, obviously, making it very, very difficult. But this mid-lane matchup, Nukeduck is one of the only players I would trust to pick Gangplank into Azir and still have a decent laning phase, because Azir normally would just push this one in over and over and over, and Featherman has played better than Nukeduck today.
But this is Nukeduck's style though. In the last two matchups, he was kind of required to push, poke, and get the advantage. Right now, he's playing the matchup that fits his style. Calm, collected backwards, outscale, hugging tower. I mean, yeah.
And Nukeduck too. I mean, he's gone 3 games when This Gangplank was very contested, very permabanned. As Fnatic do opt to take this lane swap, it's going to be followed by Vitality. We've got good old Australia lanes.
I like it. I think it's smart from Vitality to match Fnatic, though. They get the early push here again. Oh, Vitality
They're going
try to stop
for
the
the
camp.
opposite Krugs.
I think Vitality gets the best of both worlds by going top here, because if it is a lane swap, we talked about it, you have the fast push in and the GP ulti at 6. If you didn't match there, 2v2, well, great for you as well. You have a very strong 2v2 lane, as you mentioned before, as well.
It's very dependent on pushing, so it's not a strong lane when you see the trades. Obviously, combo into Jin W with follow-up crit is going to win. The thing is, you can just push him on the tower, and it's so hard for a Jin to last it under turret.
But also with the recent changes to Alistar, where his heal's been nerfed, and he's against a lane where he can't really combo forward at all because of Black Shield and Spell Shield coming in from both of them. So before, where Alistar could say, all right, I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to focus more on sustaining, that has been nerfed over 2 patches running. So it makes it even harder for Fnatic to play this 2v2 lane. And also Jin last hitting on the tower can be fairly difficult.
Well, you can see Vitality are going for blood. Once again, Kasing has opted to take the Ignite. It burned him. I didn't actually intend that the last time.
Yep.
But of course, even with Exhaust, he wasn't able to do much on this Thresh pick. It is a much safer choice, though, and it's still a Kasing special. I want to see what they're able to do.
Yeah,
Garden's building up a big wave now.
This positioning is exactly what we expect. Reckless and Clyde, they know that they can't contest the minions. Vitality don't feel the need to overpush. They want to deny as much as they can. And then we won't really see too much action, so I kind of want to bring it to the mid lane. We have Corruption Potion Gangplank, which is necessary, but he traded very well with Featherman off screen early, trading potions for Corruption Potions. Obviously, he has more sustain, and he's even in CS and isn't really out pressured just yet. So Nuketock also has Grasp available to then stay alive in this matchup, so he seems to be doing just fine.
Just a small solo queue tip for mid laners. And when you do run Teleport and Corruption Potion, be aggressive early on.
Yeah.
Don't all in them.
Level 1.
Yeah, just don't all in, but go for early trades, because when he's using a potion and you're just using your Corruption Potion, you obviously have more charges on it, and you have a Teleport, you want him to burn that early potion there, because once he's out, you can keep trading and you can just recall and TP back to lane and you gain a small advantage.
And in level 1 is where you win the lane or lose the lane with Gangplank, because that's where you have your Q available to trade versus any other spell that your opposing mid laner has. On level 2, Gangplank does not get access to any other spells that help him in trades. It's too slow to proc a barrel. But level 1, you can trade equally. In addition to having Corruption Point, it actually puts you ahead. That's exactly what happened.
There's a party in the bot lane, which is really the top lane. 2v2, Shook
Teleport
goes up,
coming.
comes back down. Gamsu going quite low. There isn't the teleport. Now
Very
it
late.
finally comes. Very, very late on this one as Spirit realizes the game is up for him, but he can't get away. Another Cocoon, and that's a double kill for Shook.
And what a fantastic start here for Vitality. Everything they need to go right is happening. They have the 2v2 locked up in the top lane. They have GP out farming in the mid lane. And then they have Cabashot being snowballed by Shook in the bottom lane. Let's see how this started.
But can we not try and gank as a Gragas at level 4 against a Teleport as well? Nuketock could even have TP'd in a lot earlier here, but he realized his team is already winning the fight, because Elise obviously is a much stronger ganger as well in their early game.
They just have the weaker 2v2 overall.
I am very surprised to see Fnatic opt into a 2v2 with weaker picks and against Teleport.
Because it's so hard to kill Maokai and Elise, because they both have a fight reset. They either repel or Twisted Advance to dodge some of the aggro, and they're really good at locking down a single target.
And it wasn't even a counter gank. It was Spirit who actually tried to counter gank Shook. So he could opt that out for it, saying, all right, boys, peace, you know, this is not what we're looking for. He went straight into it.
And Shook has not looked good on Gragas in games 1 and 2. But one thing I think that bears mentioning is that Elise is a much more comfortable choice for him, because he can then skirmish and then force lopsided engages that are really just going to be catches at the end of the day. Nailing
He's back again. He's going to walk over to Pinkor right now. Gamsu has to disengage here, go to the wall, but guess who's
Twisted Advance! Shook actually bailing out, though. He's just going to clear the pink ward.
I mean, Cocoon already missed, but he's achieving exactly what he needs. And now Maokai, who loses the matchup early in terms of push, is being rewarded for being pushed in, because his jungler's punishing his opponent, and no other lane right now needs Shook's attention. So it's all coming together here for Vitality. Much smarter draft, much smarter early game plan, and way better execution.
Talk back about this Azir. Febvin. It's featured, the Azir has at least, in all 3 of the games today. So is Febvin, actually.
This right here, that little Q, so many Gangplanks would have used that Q to get the last hit. Nuketox, he leaves the last hit to get a Grasp proc to just survive in this lane, and he stays sustained enough, so Febvin can't punish him.
Glad to see Youngbuck though agreeing on the Azir GP matchup, and it is going as expected in terms of push, not in terms of farm. where Nukeduck is able to stay even right now. Fibbin will keep pushing him down to tower over and over and over, which does set up the river for Spirit in order for him to control it, but he doesn't really want to duel this.
Oh, we're looking at a dive. TP plus Gangplank ulti is getting prompted here, and this is just a single. This is what we see with Sivir Lissandra. This is what we see with the double TP comp. They still have GP ulti. They're just telling Fnatic right here, you're gonna lose this tower and or die. You can choose. Step away. We take the free tower here for Vitality, but this matchup, this is 0 GP. We have to just stress how impressive it is for me, for Nukeduck staying even in CS and pressure despite teleporting away from the lane. He is lauded as probably the best Gangplank in the West by many players, and it's working.
And it's great for him staying even in lane. It's more about the side lanes for Fnatic, or for Vitality, sorry, in the early game, with the fact that you had that Elise coming in with the ganks, the fact you had that winning 2v2 lane. Again, that's why they swapped top lane, because if you're here, awesome, 2v2 lane. We take it, we love it, we TP up, we take your tower. If you don't, again, we lane swap, play around that with the GP ulti. So Vitality made a very good choice and much better start for them. Still really got to question that gank in the bottom lane from Spirit.
Yeah.
Absolutely no value coming. Such a risky play.
For Vitality, after two extremely difficult games for them, and they just weren't able to get off the table, they've been able to adapt. It has been some time coming, but that was the big question coming in. How is the adaptability going to come into series? Fnatic have shown it in spades. Vitality are starting to show it now.
But they have a strong start, and Vitality so far, whenever they get first blood, they win. And that's been 10 games so far. 10 out of 10. Whenever they get a first blood, they end up winning the game because they get that little bit of a bump in the early game that propels their usually strong drafts forward as well. And right now, they're seemingly in a position to do that again. Now, Cavachard is ahead of his lane opponent. He is stronger. The push is coming in. It's very easy for Vitality to find answers because Fnatic cannot mirror because of this Gangplank ulti.
Yeah, again, this is what we talked about earlier with GP. With his ulti, you don't use it for fights really. That often you use it on minions to stop pushes from happening. Fnatic are now recalling because they're realizing, okay, we can stay and take tower. We will get the tower, but if we stay with too many, we will lose another tower on the bottom side. We might even all the way into in him potentially, or Vitality just takes his tower, recalls, and then goes to top side.
Or they could rotate mid here too. They have the ulti available from Sivir to maybe just kind of look for a dive on the Azir.
Yeah, top of the Azir. You're pushing it out. Vitality realizing they're not going to get tower because Fnatic recalled.
Maybe Dragon.
Instead they get to trade, and you didn't get a Dragon for it, obviously. So you always gain something by being ahead in tempo, and a lot of it comes from Gangplank just having that ulti that resets the push from the enemy team on their tower and forces them to wait for next wave, and it delays you a lot.
So they have a global and a teleport available in addition to what Fnatic has. So they can match TP for TP, Cabo versus Gamsu, but then they can either send Nukeduck in himself or his ultimate. So they kind of have two tempo gainers in their kit. So when they're already ahead, it's very hard for Fnatic to fight back. So Fnatic, they need to do what Vitality had to do at the last game at the end, which is kind of force a group fight somewhere. Use Jin W, or else they will just slowly lose the map.
I mean, it's the only way to really use this Jin Azir properly, because you have that issue where Gangplank is going to go to the side lane with teleport and have the control there because of his global, and no one from Fnatic really wants to follow him. Because if you put the Jin in side lane, we've seen these long lanes, you can TP in behind him, Sivir will push mid and roam down, and then suddenly you force a play on Jin. But it's also important to highlight that Fnatic put so much focus on ganking their Azir last game and push him back.
Yeah, but look at this ward right here. Fnatic actually pinged it out, so they're aware that this ward exists. But this is what will keep happening throughout the entirety of the game. A lane ward will be put so that Febiven can't actually aggressively push in and siege a tower, because there will be the threat of Cavachard TPing in. And that's what's going to keep Fnatic back in the mid lane, and then Vitality can use that pressure to make it flow over in the side lanes and play the map that way.
And another good addition is you want to see if this here is moving to side lanes, and he's obviously going to sit very far back in lane once he pushes in, and then you spot him. Playing the bottom side, TP coming in. Nukeduck is here, as we talked about, in side lane, but there is backup.
Good flash. Slow setup, but the flash is on, and now Spirit goes in. They knock him up and try to take down the Gangplank. Everyone leaves him for dead there, and it's Reckless with the kill.
Cavachard has no TP yet. It's up now. It was just slightly off cooldown, so either it is absolutely perfect timing for Fnatic, or they realize when the gank is happening that, okay, TP is still on cooldown because he's not reacting and they can execute the gank.
I feel it's a little early to swap Nukeduck to a side lane then. I think the swap should only happen if Nukeduck has his teleport available, or Cabo has his teleport available, so everybody can help each other right now. Because right now they engaged on the one teleport, so that global got removed out of the equation, and there was no help. So good play by Fnatic though. It puts them even in the game again.
And again, it's that shot calling, where it's like these very, very quick decisions they make. You're like, all right, we're pushing bot. They've already sent GP down. Let's go for it. If we maybe mistime the TP with a few seconds, we can always back out.
No, it's really smart.
Otherwise, we can commit to it and get the kill. But clearly for Vitality, they were basically doing exactly the same thing. All right, TP's up in just a few seconds. Switch it around, go to the bottom lane.
Stay safe, yeah.
Stay safe, you know, stay on the tower. And then the instant reaction happens for Fnatic, and that's why Vitality gets punished. Most teams would not have punished there, and it would have just been a fine transition from Vitality.
And that has been traditionally the answer to globals. You take them down first, and then you deal with the rest. So, like, play against TF, kill TF, then kill the rest. And it's a really good read from Fnatic overall. Right now, though, it does leave Vitality with TP advantage and GP ulti available. So let's see if they can get the lead right now, because for the next 3 or 4 minutes, they should have major map advantages.
That's the question. Can they use it? What are they going to go for on the map? Obviously, it's 2-2 in towers. We still have at least one outer remaining either side, both in the mid. There is a Rift Herald available, but it's all spotted up. I mean, Vitality, they might have the TP advantage, but do they need to get a pick off before they can do anything?
Well, this is where, again, you push in the side lanes and you get deep vision coming in so you can TP behind it. Nukeduck has to be careful here.
Oh, Barrel, it's going to knock him back, and Reckless speeding himself up, but there's a teleport coming in, and now it's 2v2 with Cabochard double timing onto Spirit, and Reckless says, see you later.
I mean, it's actually surprising how bad Fnatic is playing against teleport. In the other games, they had double TP, and they could do these plays and have this advantage, but like...
Why just walk through this?
You're walking straight into a lane, again, where double TP is available. And you are not expecting Cabochard to just TP in instantly and kill you?
This is the second time this game where they get punished for the exact same thing. More importantly, they just want to play off the back of what? A teleport play. That's when you wait.
You have to make it hard for Vitality here. So let them play the 1-3-1 where they need to push up lanes, enable or set up deep vision on one side, and then have that opportunity to TP in and set up a gank, and then snowball to take a tower, or pressure mid and force the Zia back to the tower. Here's Spirit and
Spotted,
Rick.
good ward. Like, good ward from Nukeduck to spot that gank coming in.
But they also just don't have the damage to nuke him down in time, and Clyde is walking behind, so they're trying to say it's going to be a 3v2 potentially. But obviously Alistar is not going to make a difference here, and surprising call, again, by Fnatic, not respecting what double TP can do.
I mean, they're just hoping to catch them by surprise and then kill one, and then the teleport doesn't matter. But the thing is, Nukeduck had a really good ward right there on his left flank, which allowed him to just take a slight pivot to the right, and suddenly that cast body slam combo that would have knocked him straight into Reckless, now knocked him sideways, bottom of time, teleport comes in, the tower doesn't fall. And if you looked at what Fnatic have in their red jungle, they have 4 perfect pink wards. They have that side of the map under control, but then they go for a play on the other side of the map where they have no vision control, no knowledge of kind of what vision Vitality have, and they overreach against double TP, and that honestly is a mistake.
Swings of gold right back in favor of Vitality, and they do grab themselves an inner turret on top of it all for their troubles. Yarnin, a little bit low in that mid side, but he keeps on clearing the waves. These outer towers just keep on hanging, and Vitality are also buying time, but the Rift Herald resets.
This is the only way Fnatic is surviving at the moment, is by having Febiven just perma-push mid lane over and over and over.
But he's doing what Nukeduck did not do on that Azir, though. He's kind of stepping outside of the bounds and just going for it.
Well, because Fnatic has tried to force fights for like ganking side lanes, the focus from Vitality is being on responding to those ganks with teleport. So they haven't been there ganking the mid lane over and over. The play they were supposed to do before, was supposed to set up from Vitality, was again push these side lanes and then go into mid. Force Azir to back away from his tier 1 tower, take the tier 1 tower. That's what happened with Fnatic last game against Azir. They just kept ganking mid over and over and over, and therefore Nukeduck couldn't push it. In this one here, Fabian has been basically sit in mid lane. Yeah. He's been sitting there doing push, nothing else.
The swap came a little early though for Vitality. Putting a Sivir, you could see just how much damage 2 soldiers did every time to either Sing or Hjarnan. And generally when you swap 3 mid, you should have control over your enemy mid laner, so it feels a little rushed here. I think Vitality could have maybe played Sivir on the side lane a little more, and then just use the GP ulti to join in, teleport to join in, because Azir can never leave.
As long as they keep him locked up there, Vitality know when they have that advantage. They're still holding that tower strong. Dragon, first one went over in favor of Vitality after that last push down towards that bottom side, and the collapse there was. So now Vitality are just 2-manning this one. Shook has really been much more active around the map, and you can see it in his kill participation this game. That big play coming up earlier in the bottom side. He definitely looks more on form this game.
It's also a very high damage build here from Febiven, being able to rush the Nashers, because he's not laning against any AP champion, so there's no need for the early Abyssal to match whatever Abyssal the other guy happens to be building. So he can go for straight up pure what Azir wants. Attack speed and AP and just whack away and do so much damage. He is squishy if he ever gets caught, but it's up to Feven to just really play careful.
There we go. They got 3 members on it, but still Feven just keeps pushing this back. And now the Gragas has arrived. Spirit for the defense. They can't quite get this turret down, and it's going to be the slow game for a little while.
But not the plan for Vitality to take that turret in just one push. In case, or if they do want to do that, again, you put the GP ulti behind the turret and say, all right, Azir, you're going to stand in the ulti and clear the waves. No, you're going to step back and we take tower. But they're obviously just slowly poking it down. No reason to hard commit for anything at the moment. You're waiting for your teleports.
Waiting for your side lanes first. Fix your side lane, then your mid lane. That's generally the approach to the game. So we see Cabo head down bottom. GP now is in the top lane.
With the TP.
And then once these guys push the side lanes, that's when they can move to the sides of the mid lane. You know, pincer, put the threat. They don't even care if Fnatic knows. They want Fnatic to be aware. Just step away from the tower.
Yeah. You just want this Azir, which is the cornerstone of Fnatic's lineup right now, which is defending the mid lane. You just want him to respect you and not keep perma-pushing mid.
Concede, don't feed.
So far, it's been working fairly well. I think both teams are in agreement. Fnatic, of course, have only been able to pick up 1 kill for themselves, but they are still holding these things out and counter-pushing the waves. It's just Nuktuk, you can see him waiting in this brush to see if he can get a catch on Reckless. Nothing happening right now. Still very safe, very conservative play. Fnatic, they may be 1 game away from this whole thing, but still, they're playing that safe right now.
A Vitality team was adapted over the games and are not just randomly pushing up lanes without actually knowing where enemy jungler is and therefore not getting ganked.
That would be correct.
Very good adaptation. Nuktuk just sitting hiding in the bush here. Now all the lanes have been pushed up at once, and again he saw Spirit on top side, meaning Cabochard could push more on the bottom side.
Right.
Guess where he's going right now? In for some deep vision.
Just throw the sapling at this here, show him you're here. Trying to get him to back away.
I think word comes out. Flash W is enough really to connect. Plus GPLP plus Silver Boomerang. That's cleansed though on Featherman. It's a good point. Thankfully my color caster starts pointing at the screen. Remember summer spells.
The Rift Herald is going to go in favor of Vitality, though, with all of that happening. So they'll have a little bit more pushing power on their sides. It's Shook who does pick it up. And Febiven soloing his own blue buff in the meanwhile. For Fnatic, though, they've kept this gold gap pretty close to even. It's swung a few times, even in their favor. How do they get back into this one?
Well, for now they have to defend his top tower, but they have to realize it's 5 members from Vitality with Herald. I don't think Cabochard had to be here already. He could have set bot side and just TP'd up, but he actually walked the entire way around mid lane, said hello to the Rift Herald, then it died, then he walked top lane, took a tower with the team, will lose farm here, so again, surprised that Cabochard actually took the entire route,
but they have the GP ulti to at least maybe stall and not use teleport.
They won't lose bot tower, for sure. It's more just, it's going to take quite some damage from it, and you lose some farm. I feel like Cabochard could just have stayed. Maybe he wanted to save the teleport.
But he's a changed man, the official. He no longer cares about farm and carrying. He has been whipped into submission by Sean.
Maybe he's just so confused by what's going on. He just started leaving his lane randomly, walking around.
He's just become another tank player. That's what he is. He is a puppet to the team.
It's adaptation, guys. Come on. It's a positive thing.
Back when Cabochard got into the pro scene, he was actually known as a bit of a one-trick Maokai player. He didn't very quickly realize it wasn't very entertaining, and he just started playing all the carries. And here we are. We go a few years back.
With the light-up shoes and everything, yeah. It's been kind of a long pattern, long journey for Cabochard. And Febiven takes a long journey himself after clearing away the pink ward at the Sand Soldiers. Vitality.
I still feel when Fnatic ran a similar composition, where they have to kind of like use the push priority and then kind of isolate towers, take them down, dive. They did it a lot crisper than Vitality's doing this game. It feels a little slow to me.
But that is Vitality in a nutshell. They are the slow, methodical team. Maybe they don't do it as fast. Maybe they don't do it as cleanly.
But game 1, it cost them. They played slow, not so methodical, and then suddenly Fnatic outscaled, and they have to be a little bit careful. Obviously, there's no triple threat this time, but Azir and Jhin can carry some of these fights later. Obviously,
a lot of scaling on both sides.
Gangplank late game. Kind of goes against that too.
It's a little disgusting.
A lot of scaling on both sides here.
And there's a Sivir too. I mean, the quietly farming, pushing Sivir, who's got 15 CS over the Jhin at the moment. Yarnan just continues to shove waves.
I mean, we will get some big explosive team fights late game where only really their least is gonna run around fairly confused, realizing that
you just send them down bot
like a machine, and that's about it. Late game, you do basically nothing else.
I mean, Alistar has 3 buttons.
Well, yeah, but it's better than 1 cocoon only.
Hold on. They tried Shook team fight. It didn't work 2 games in a row.
That is
It's
true.
got to be an improvement.
But he had a good start now. He
did.
did what he had to do with a pick champ, which is make picks. Guys,
Nailed the cocoons.
Nailed
He's
the
been able to
You
do
nailed
it.
that point there. Chris.
Yeah.
sometimes when you struggle, you just gotta go for the sipping points. Right now, they nailed the scuttler play. They killed the scuttler.
They did.
And they end.
They're about to nail the Baron bait here. TP coming in.
Oh, boom. Cly, all of a sudden, half his health is gone. Unbreakable will, but they've got the Ignite on him. They just want to finish him off. He's going to get the Pulverize onto Kasing, and he
Wait, Clyde
flashes right over the
away.
wall, but
Oh,
then
okay.
Yarden follows him
Jukes.
to his death.
So
Look at
Clyde-
Counterstar too. He was holding the flash like, do it.
Oh, he has cleanse. I don't want to do it, but kind of want to get into the fight. He couldn't join. Lost his cards. Might be another fight happening though.
Oh, the barrel. They're going to knock Cabo Shard in, and the hook from Gamsu pulls him back. But Spirit, look at that damage they're dishing out. Already on the back of it in the disengage, and the re-engage from Vitality is just way too real here. This tower is finally going to go down without any minions, though. Maybe not quite yet. There we go.
Oh, curtain call.
Oh,
One,
Reckless.
2.
3. Boom. It's
Ruining all the
3.
fun.
But Counterstar walks up and W's a minion there so randomly that both teams kind of were confused. Fnatic's like, okay, this guy has no twisted advance, let's focus him. Then they remembered he was a tank, couldn't kill him, and suddenly Vitality win anyways. But it was a very weird exchange there.
Cly steps a little too far forward again.
He had to though.
He did
Yeah,
have to.
I don't-
We've talked about how like a lot of the times his deaths are sacrifices. That was definitely one.
Yeah, I don't think they had any blue trinkets available at the time, so you have to step in and see if the Baron is being started.
He has to right here.
That's
'cause
why they collapse on him.
one of his main faults was that and this is the hesitation of Counterstar that we were talking about. I think it's fine not going in here.
Yeah, there's cleanse on his ear, right? You don't want to just
Get knocked
W
into
over
the...
and knocked into tower, and he just cleanses, and you'll kind of look like a fool.
But Cly right here, he had to face check. The critique that came to him is mostly when he was playing Braum. He was playing a couple teamos too far forward in the team fights, and he got picked off without actually peeling for his team. This time he had to face check. He was Alistar, but Vitality punished him very hard.
Oh, that was pretty.
That's
close.
that's when the recall finishes and they see you in the brush, you're just like, bye-bye.
All right, that's pretty close though. If Caboshot had managed to interrupt Fabian, forced a few summoners,
Yeah.
most likely from him. But Vitality
It's gonna
are
be
still in
Baron
the
Rush.
lead. They want to keep forcing fights. Obviously, no TP flank from Caboshot, but you just saw their Zero recall. He's now back in the lane. Gamzu's recalling as well. This is still fairly risky in a sense, in case Fnatic can spot it. But that's the good thing for Vitality. They have so much control around it.
I mean, Spirit's gonna go for
Triple ward,
50.
and that forced him to back away. But look how fast Vitality is saying, we don't want to fight it, we don't want to risk it, we're still early in the game. They saw it, back
Yeah.
away.
Still not taking any unnecessary risks if they can, and they've built themselves up a decent nest egg in exchange for it. You know, that's about.
It does slow the game down
yeah.
a little bit when you go for these, again, not risky, but
I mean, compare the minimap in terms of wards to what it was before. Vitality had complete control of Fnatic's jungle. Fnatic kind of bypassed that, went through mid, and then went for the check. It's like, yeah, we have to face check. And luckily for them, there was no Vitality bait. But now they get some wards in the jungle, and the whole process of pushing deep vision starts all over again. So this is kind of a 3-minute time waste where Vitality now have to set up everything again.
yeah, step one for Vitality is definitely going into the side lanes with your double TP. It is available for Caboshot very soon, and you play those side lanes first. No, it's what we keep harping on, but it is the way the teams are playing.
Right.
Interesting build. A little bit of an interesting build from Nuke Dog with their Infinity Edge coming in. I've actually seen a lot more Essence Reaver for Gangplank second item after the recharge system with these barrels was changed a little bit and obviously got buffed. And you can no longer stack 5 barrels. Shook
gets
is
hit.
getting caught out.
Yeah. What goes up must come down, and fortunately, a flash will save his life.
But basically, cooldown reduction is a lot more important on Gangplank now in the late game, because before you could rely on stacking up the 5 barrels and then have your Infinity Edge and just unleash an insane amount of damage when the fight started with extra barrels ready for you. Now you rely on cooldown reduction to get the recharging system working faster. So he's basically saying, I need to connect the first 2 or 3 barrels I put down in this fight, otherwise I actually lose out on quite a bit of DPS. But again, Nuke Dog is very confident in his ability to land these barrels here.
Said it, man. Best Gangplank in the West now. Febiven slides and glides his way out of the fight into the relative safety of the Sun Disc, but Cly is not quite so lucky. He takes a ton of damage before having to flash away. Caboshard now tanking up.
Look at the
curtain
mechanics.
call.
He's walking. Ah, that's just beautiful. Tank player. Walks in front of the bullets.
Get hit by skill shots.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's the #1 thing you need to learn as a tank player.
To
Get
catch
hit
bullets
by
for
skill
everybody.
shots.
Yeah.
And you see just Vitality 1 buy and suddenly Febiven has to cleanse, and they don't need to make any tough decisions. What's in front? Hit it. That's literally all they have to do. That the only risk they run is if they overcommit for a backline target and they get shuffled in, thrown in by the Gragas ulti. They just focus Cly on Alistar, and they just keep their distance.
But this was the few minutes where we didn't have double TP available for Vitality, so they probably weren't expecting a whole lot to happen. Now we can go back to playing the Vitality style, and it's on Fnatic basically to say we need to be able to force something with our Jhin Azir comp here. We want to have this 4-man group of our jungle support, the 2 tanks in the front, and then our very, very, very strong damage dealers in Jhin and Azir behind them, and then just with Gamsu sitting and holding a lane. That is the unit we want to move forward and like create a pick. Get someone low before the fight starts, and then when the engage happens, Azir stays alive and Jhin stays alive from the initial engage coming in, and then you just have insane amount of sustained damage coming from especially the Azir pick. Because if we look at what FebiVn can do in fights, like with his ulti, there's not really anything that should be able to get to him other than the Maokai. If Elise repels over trying to follow him, she's going to be extremely weak in the late game. She can't do it. GP can't follow because, again, the wall. Sivir can't follow because of the wall from Azir. So it's going to block a lot of what Vitality wants to do in these fights, other than Cabochard kind of flying over.
Yeah, and both these teams really do have to start thinking about that late game, because even though Vitality control the pace of it and still have that advantage with the double TP until they spend it, Fnatic can still execute some crazy fights. There's a reason we've been talking about Azir so much and how powerful he is despite him not winning yet today with Nuke Duck. But there's a lot of power on this Vitality side if Fnatic do get caught out. We've already seen it happen once or twice.
Yeah.
All right, I'm tracking Shook. I think it's Cabochard that does not have a pink ward down right now, so he's the true culprit. There's 4 pink wards, but look at the ward outside of the Baron pit. Right next to that, you can see it on your minimap. It's around the corner, or our observers could show us too, hopefully. It is right there, right now below Nuke Duck. That is a ward right there that Fnatic has snuck in, and it's completely negating any Baron bait, because it has perfect unit to bait. Vitality, they will never be able to successfully bait until they figure out that that ward's right there. That's why you always want to have at least a ward out of the pit too.
But this has been a play we've seen, like, I'm going to go back almost season 3.
Oh yeah, this was the Baron ward.
And like, this was always what you would do, and you forced the other team then to obviously walk in with their Oracle from your support.
There we go.
So he had to spot it with the Oracle and then play it out. What teams adapted and started doing was placing on 2 pink wards, one inside the pit and one just outside of the pit, so you would always see around the corner.
It's the age of blue trinkets, man. Everyone's gotten lazy.
This is one of those things where when you watch the replay as a player and you see that, you're like, oh, yeah, of course. I mean, why didn't we just check there? It's so obvious. But in-game, you're talking about all these other different things. You know, how do we play this 1-3-1 now? How do we push up? What happens when a team fight breaks out? How do we get to Azir?
And Cabochard's pink ward is right now stuck next to the Wolves here on the other side of the map. He placed that very early. Maybe Fnatic will help him right now by clearing it out, and then he will become a changed man.
Maybe he forgot it was his pink ward and he doesn't realize.
He placed it out very early. When he walked to the mid lane and then walked top for the seat, that's when he placed that pink ward.
Yeah,
it's been there for a while.
Vitality, this would be number 3 for them. They do pick it up. Well, Cabochard was getting a little greedy for blue buff and Spirit. The rest of Fnatic, they weren't confident in trying to take this one, so Vitality just grabs all they can. Fnatic now moving though for Kasing, can't quite find him because of the flashes there. Curtain calls on the hunt, defensive for Yarn, and Cabochard in the middle. FebiVn incredibly low, and now Vitality are trying to chase on this one. It is a hectic, chaotic chase. Clyde flashes over the pit, but Cabo follows and so does Shook. Fnatic still on the run, Nuke Duck just waiting as he loads his barrel. Let's see what he can... Nuke Duck! Oh my goodness! Yarn gets the kill on the other side.
So smart! He uses the cast to fly towards FebiVn. Makes Spirit help him. Oh, what a good play. And Cabochard too. He waited for Clyde to get close to the wall, then twisted advance, gets carried over. Complete outplay here from Vitality in this fight.
Big play, 2 for none, and that's going to be Baron time. Right now, Spirit's caught by the Dark Binding. Gamsu still trying to kill Kasing, and he actually does go down. Spirit bops him with the barrel, and now there's an answer kill, though. Nuke Duck has turned it on, and he finds Spirit. Gamsu trying to run away, but nowhere to go. That's a double kill for the Gangplank, and 4 Fnatic members are down.
Fnatic was doing a good job before, just kind of delaying the game more and more, playing around this 1-3-1 split push. But once they lost another Dragon, I feel like got a little bit too aggressive, maybe saying, guys, we actually have to do something. We're losing on Dragons. They still have Baron control. So FebiVn was the guy diving in for Kasing, which started the whole fight. And he was very low and just had to run away after. He wasn't even able to deal any DPS. So let's see if they start. This is after they lost the Dragon. FebiVn goes in. Great binding as well from Kasing together with the flash. Now he's low. He's not really able to join the fight with this Azir. And Fnatic has to run.
Yeah, Cabochard went twisted advance of the Spirit, then knocked on FebiVn. He was low. But just they go over here to chase Clyde, and just keep your eyes on Shook.
Flash, yeah.
He sees right now the barrel coming. He's like, nope, you're gonna help me. Goes to FebiVn. That's just really
Beautiful.
good awareness from Shook.
He has stepped up big this game, and Vitality have woke up. Big Baron play after the fact.
Sivir Maokai.
And yeah, we got ourselves a Sivir comp with the big buff.
Guess what? Trundle Poppy are out. Sivir Maokai gets played.
I mean, Margaret just becomes S tier when those 2 picks are gone. Anyway, oh yeah, Kasing also died.
He used his flash
missed that
to
part.
Some other stuff happened
We have to
to
blame him for that. He was late.
Gamsu will go down as well, so maybe it was all
He burned
one,
his flash too,
one
by the
big
way.
bait. We will never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Kasing actually blasted a little late.
He was
because
like, I want you to engage on me.
he knew Gamsu was going to flash into a wall. Yeah, just mastermind.
The Kasing effect.
Kasing effect.
Sometimes it is very, very real. Spirit, though, is going to try to get some revenge. He knocks Kasing back in, but there's a teleport already on. And Clyde was bound up. Shook now with Yarden, turning back onto Gamsu. Emperor's Divide pushes a few back, but not nearly enough. Oh, everyone is just melting! Oh my lord! Fnatic are just gone.
Well, an absolute slaughterhouse from every single angle. Somebody from Vitality steps in. Cavern Shard is unkillable in that fight. Fnatic melt, get aced. Vitality, yeah, 14-2.
Whoa.
Completely different game.
GG, well played, boys. Vitality say we will not get swept away, and under the rug, they take themselves the Nexus turrets, take the Nexus, and we have a series on our hands.
So far, the double TP composition has won every single game. Game 1 with the Kassadin. Obviously, Vitality should have been able to execute a lot better in that game, but that's history now. Fnatic played well, they punished them. Last game, obviously, Fnatic had the Lissandra Sivir comp, again, double teleport coming in. This game, it's Vitality's turn. They were ahead, basically the entire game long, set up some good dives early on with TPs. Azir is an absolutely fantastic champion, but right now,
It's not working out.
teams are not able to play on all 3 lanes when they have the Azir, because all the focus comes around mid lane, and then you have one TP lane at the moment,
Yep.
and the other lane where the AD carry is trying to run around is kind of just left for dead.
Yeah, double TP Supreme, and just it's not necessarily the Azir pick itself. It's kind of how he influences the surroundings. Whether it's the pick and ban, too many. Oh yeah, we need to get rid of Varus. Oh, we need to be careful here. Suddenly your side lanes start falling, and then Azir gets punished for it. But overall, I really like the draw from Vitality. They learned there was no Poppy Trundle left on the board because Fnatic had that last Trundle ban out. They pivoted. We have to fault Fnatic for not picking up the Sivir early. I think on first rotation in the way these games are being played out, I think you just have to lock it.
The same thing happened to Vitality the last game. They let it slip through their fingertips, and Fnatic were able to execute incredibly. That you'd think they would know.
Because it's so good actually
It's so good.
against double teleport. Because when you have an Azir that's stuck in the mid lane right now and you lose control, Sivir is actually really hard to pick off because of spell shields and the fact that she can ulti out. She can push in waves and disappear very quickly. This Jhin pick is so low mobility and gets punished every game. Look at Hjarnan when he had the Jhin. 4 seconds is how long he lived in every fight. I say that in 3.
Yeah, of course.
4.
That's fine.
But what Reckless Jhin never got online either. He's been able to pull it out really powerfully, but Vitality were the only team that shut it down in the regular split, and they did it again.
0-3 Azir right now. Are people going to change their opinion?
I mean, they have to.
Needs more Sundisk,
I
man.
mean, we saw Vitality in this game already change their opinion, saying we're fine giving you Azir. It came in second rotation for Fnatic, obviously this time around. Question is, if the teams are still afraid of it, but neither team maybe wants to play, do you just ban it away? And you just actually just
help yourself.
Or you can even leave it open and say, we just don't want to play. We just keep picking double teleport.
I mean, if only there was... Yeah, we could maybe hear more from that later on, after the break.
Of course. Thank you for setting me up for that one. Yeah, Fnatic, they're still 1 win away from a semifinals trip to the Netherlands, but we'll have to see if Vitality can force Game 5. They certainly made a statement so far. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.